This one is a first, and hopefully a last for me. I have never written political wall of text and don't intend to ever do it again after this. In fact, I usually try to avoid political flame wars altogether, even in the more extreme cases of a scummy behavior that need to be addressed for the health of the game. But I do care about this game. And this situation right now, I could not, in good conscience, ignore. Anyway, here goes the first ever horsecock political wall of text. This is an open letter to the syndicate. First of all, the simple fact that I never did this kind of post probably means that many people, barring alliance leaders I've worked with in the past, might not know my mentality and moral stances. So let me start this by giving you some more context. For the first time in the history of the game, we actually have a political landscape comprised of a set of 5 before Oasis disbanded, now 4, roughly equally sized mini-spheres. That's obviously a good thing for the healthy political dynamics in this climate. I actually don't want Clock or any other sphere, for that matter, to ever team up with a second sphere against a single one. Take notes, Tyrion, as that would be despicable dogpile. These spears are very much able to pick fair, one-on-one fights, wars that are certainly more than even ever before. And yes, I did oppose the Clock plus Blackwater versus Mystery Oasis war. That was very much not a war I consider fun. The war we had planned with Kata plus Hand of Fate versus Mystery, a block far larger than our two alliances, as far as I can tell. There also aren't any secret treaties between any sphere at this moment. Sure, Steve, rest in peace, pretended Clockwater was one spear, but we both know there was no love lost there. I also hope no one takes this post as evidence of any Clock EMC cooperation. Until the extremely recent Oasis breakup, our two spears actually considered each other obvious rivals. And to risk the painting a target on my back for revealing this, I personally suggested that Easy Mode Coalition should be the target of Clock's first global instead of Rose. Why? Because at the time, they were the largest, certainly in the mid and upper tiers, and considered the most competent spear. I placed the utmost priority in striving for unconditional competence and in pursuing war as a mean of testing and proving my group's skill at the game. Proving something to myself, most of all, I am a proud man with a straight back, and taking on EMC would have been a challenge worthy of the horse. That's why I play this game. I do not ever pursue war for political motivations, and I believe my track record very much shows that. And it's quite possible that I have personally started more wars than any other alliance leader in the history of the game. I know that people don't share this mentality, and that some major alliances enjoy a playstyle more focused on public grandstanding, finger pointing, and more. Don't know that word, sorry. Especially in time of war. I respect that. And I don't want to discourage it, in fact. In general, in fact. These things do add spices to the political landscape and can make the game more interesting. A good number of alliances do also try to take political advantage in order to dogpile instead of relying on in-game skill, but you, TS, take it way too far these days. The only other major alliance in the PNW history to act in a comparable manner was MPO, and I would have thought the overwhelming community opinion on MPO would be a useful pointer for shaping your own behavior. It came as no surprise to me that when I made a throwaway comment during the last global war about surprising lack of political drama from either side, a comment responding to TKR and not mentioning any spears or alliances, the only one who even noticed and got salty was a TS Gov member. Here's the problem. You habitually and aggressively dispatch your keyboard warriors, most of which are current or former High Gov members, to every public forum, be it this one or any major Discord server, in the effort to control the public conversation, spread your own spin and propaganda, and drown out the spectrum of nuanced opinions from all the other people. Both they and your FA leaders' public announcements make use of the full arsenal of all of the most toxic and disingenuous methods of political drama, gaslighting, blatant hypocrisy, barefaced lies, misrepresentation, malicious accusations, paranoia, conspiracy theories, self-entitled boasting, and of simple flaming and assaults. In fact, they do little else. This is the most common behavior, and I and many others have seen from TS over the past year or so. I could compile a long list of public shitstorms that TS has sometimes caused, always amplified, and often taken center stage in. At the same time, you act disproportionately insulted and outraged any time someone makes a negative remark about your own alliance, unlike the vast majority of even small alliances. You seem to conduct yourself with a complete disregard of moral integrity. I'd go as far as to say even a complete disregard for your personal honor and the honor of your alliance. Of course, this shapes the way your alliance is perceived and judged by others. And to pretend otherwise would be evidence of profound social ineptitude. While these behaviors were present in TS-Gov for some time before then, they only become intolerable after the most recent resignation of Partisan. I had a lot of respect for Partisan's style and mentality, even if I did not share it. But he did actually try to talk and act with the purpose of making the game more enjoyable, and he put a very presentable public face upon your alliance when he left. That veneer of moral integrity dropped, and TS seems to have lost any temperance in controlling and self-awareness of how you conduct yourself in public. You're not the only alliance that likes a dogpile, and you're not the only alliance that is afraid of getting rolled. But you are the only alliance that doesn't really even try to hide just how fragile your egos and just how petty your methods and motivations really are. The events of the past year leading up to this war made it painfully obvious to anyone with even a shred of public awareness where your behavior would lead you, and we all know that you would reap your just rewards for it. In fact, I never even bothered to consider your spear as a target for the global war. Not just because I never used political drama as a reason for war, but because I knew the other spears do, and would give you this war without any action from Clock. And honestly, this is a rather evenly matched war, much unlike the 3 dogpiles you did in 2021. And once again, you act publicly outraged and resort to all of the same PR behaviors that got you to this point in the first place. Yet, you still made the decision to immediately give up and not even try to fight back militarily, despite being in a good position to put up a meaningful fight with real strategy. Do you really just want your wars to be as cheap as possible and never to even cause meaningful damage to your enemies? Other than by dogpiling them when it's easy? You don't even want to be taken seriously anymore in terms of competency, military might, or even honor. Barring actual cheating, this is quite possibly the most pathetic display I've seen from any major alliance ever. Please, TS, if you have any modicum of self-respect or concern for the health of the game left, I urge you to rethink your entire mindset, reverse this escalating course of childish behavior, and try to become the great alliance you once were. The whole game would thank you for it. If you continue on your current trajectory, then I strongly suspect that this game's community will increasingly respect or even tolerate you less and less. People are judged on their actions, and no one else ever cares about what you personally feel you are entitled to.